Now let us continue the discussion about Carnot cycle in order to derive an expression for the thermal efficiency eta for the Carnot cycle. For that purpose, just recall that on a PV diagram, the Carnot cycle, we are calling it as cycle because the process is cyclic. It starts with state A to state B with isothermal expansion at temperature T1. From B to C, it follows adiabatic expansion to point C. From C to a point D through isothermal compression, and again back to A through adiabatic compression. So these are the processes, namely process A, B, B, C, C, D and D, A, which are responsible for the Carnot cycle. Now let us just go through the parameters. At A, the variables are P1, V1, T1. At B, they become P2, V2, T1. At C, we have P3, V3, T2. At D, we have P4, V4, T2. That's it. These parameters we have already studied in the previous video. Now we are going to calculate the work done during each of these cycles, each of these processes. So for process AB, the work done is, say, W1 is by definition integral of P dV from some initial volume to final volume. In this case, the initial volume is V1, whereas the final volume is V2. So if we consider the ideal gas equation, which is PV is equal to nRT, but we note that in our case the gas inside the cylinder is equal to 1 mole. So this N can be removed since N equal to 1. So P here is equal to RT by V. Now note that R is a constant. Since this process AB is isothermal, this temperature remains constant at T equal to T1. So instead of P, we can write as RT1 by V, and R and T1 being constants can be taken outside the integral, and what remains inside is 1 by V dV from V1 to V2. Now note that integral 1 by x dx is log x. So this gives us log of V from V1 to V2. Now we have to solve this as upper limit minus lower limit, log of V2 minus V1, log of V2 minus log of V1, and log of A minus B is log A upon B. So this is just RT1 log of V2 by V1. So this is an expression for work done during process AB. Let us just write it here. W1 is RT1 times log of V2 by V1. V2 is the final volume, V1 is the initial volume. Now, just by analogy, we can write an expression for W3 because W3 belongs to process CD. Since this is W1, W2, W3 and W4. W3 is a process which is isothermal compression. So since the process is isothermal, we can apply the same formula and write it as RT2. Now the temperature is different. It is T2 now for this process. Log of final volume upon initial volume. Final volume in this case is V4 divided by initial volume in this case is V3. So call it as equation 1, then equation 2. Now let us try to find out the expressions for work done for the remaining two processes. Just let me erase this so that we save the space. Now for this particular process BC, which is adiabatic expansion, we know that for an adiabatic process, PV raised to gamma is a constant. Let us say that constant in this case is K. Now this gamma is nothing but the ratio of specific heat at constant pressure to specific heat at constant volume, and is typically 1.4 or 1.3 or 1.66 depending upon the nature of gas. So it is greater than 1, slightly greater than 1, that we have to remember that gamma is larger than 1. Now since PV raised to gamma is equal to K, we can have P equal to K upon V raised to gamma. Now let us use this in the previous formula for work done, which says that W is integral PdV from some initial volume to final volume. For the process BC, initial volume is V2, final volume is V3. So replace P by this K by V raised to gamma dV from V2 to V3. Now this can be solved further. K is a constant, so it comes outside the integration. This is V2 to V3, V raised to minus gamma dV. Now we know that integral x raised to n dx is x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1 when n is not equal to minus 1. So if we apply this formula here, we get K V raised to minus gamma plus 1 upon minus gamma plus 1 with the limits V2 to V3. Now this is just K upon 1 minus gamma. So this minus gamma plus 1 can be written as 1 minus gamma into V3 raised to 1 minus gamma. So V is replaced by V3 minus lower limit V2 raised to 1 minus gamma. Okay. Now note that this if we absorb this K inside, we get K V3 into V3 raised to minus gamma. So this V3 is V3 raised to 1. So 1 minus gamma term is split in these two subterms minus K V2 into V2 raised to minus gamma. Now let us look at the previous equation which we have written here, that P is K upon V raised to gamma, that is K into V raised to minus gamma, right? So K into V raised to minus gamma is just P. Clearly this means that K into V raised to minus gamma, K into V raised to minus gamma at both the places can be replaced by P. So we have K into V raised to minus gamma, that is V3, so it becomes P3 V3 minus K into V2 raised to minus gamma is P2 into this term V2. Now further note that by ideal gas law, for 1 mole of a gas, PV is RT. So P into V is just R into T. So here we should write it as 1 upon 1 minus gamma. P3 into V3 should be the corresponding temperature multiplied by R as mentioned here. So for this P3 V3, the corresponding temperature is T2, and for P2 V2, the corresponding temperature is T1. So let us substitute the values. P3 V3 and P2 V2 gets replaced by the corresponding temperatures. At P3 V3 the temperature is T2, at P2 V2 the temperature is T1 multiplied by a constant R which comes outside. Now we note that we have mentioned gamma is typically larger than 1. So this 1 minus gamma is in fact going to be negative. So we can rearrange this to write it as R upon gamma minus 1, which is a much better expression because gamma is larger than 1, into, since this we have adjusted a negative sign here in the denominator, let us adjust a negative sign here as well. So this becomes T1 minus T2. So R upon gamma minus 1, T1 minus T2. That is nothing but work done in the process BC. So let us include it here, R upon So which is W2 is equal to R upon gamma minus 1 into T1 minus T2. This is say equation 3. Now we can again use the analogy, because process AD is similar to process BC, just the difference is that BC is an expansion, whereas process DA is a compression. So here we have T1 minus T2, that is the initial minus final temperature. Similarly, here we have T2 minus T1, which is initial minus final temperature. So W2 will be here R into gamma minus 1 into T2 minus T1. We did not solve the entire derivation again, sorry, just this is W4 and not W2, because this is work done during process AD. So these are the 4 works done during all the 4 processes. Now the total work done, W, will be the addition of all these works. Now we note that W2 and W4 are exactly equal and opposite to each other. Yes, because this is the T1 minus T2 and we have here T2 minus T1. So adding these two will be equal to 0. So these two terms just disappear. So W is now equal to W1 plus W3. So RT1 log of V2 by V1 plus RT2 log of V4 by V3. So this is the total work done during the entire cycle. Now let us look at this. Let us try to simplify this expression further. We can prove. Let us skip some steps. We can prove by using a simple algebraic analysis that these ratios V2 minus V1 and V3 minus V4 are same. So V2 minus V1 is log of V2 minus V1 is log of V3 upon V4. Or it is equal to minus log of V4 by V3. Now if you use this term here, this log of V4 minus V3 gets replaced by minus log of V2 minus V1. So let us use it here to get an expression for work done as W equal to RT1 log of V2 upon V1 minus RT2 log of V2 upon V1. Yes. Now the things which are common are R log of V2 upon V1 into bracket T1 minus T2. This is the work done during the process. Now, in order to determine efficiency, which we have defined earlier as W upon heat absorbed by the system, we need to find out the heat absorbed. Now, if we carefully look at the Carnot cycle, which these two processes are adiabatic, and surely heat neither leaves the system nor does it enter. Now this process is isothermal compression and this process is isothermal expansion. Now since this is isothermal compression, heat leaves the system to the sink. So the only process where heat enters the system from the source is this particular process AB. So Q1 is nothing but equal to W1. Why is it so? Remember the expression for second law, that Q is U plus W, right? So Q is heat exchange with the system, U is the change in internal energy of the system, W is the work done by the system. Since the process is isothermal, U is equal to 0. So Q is simply equal to the work done. So in this case, Q1 is equal to W1. So we write it as W upon W1, and we have already derived an expression for W1. Let us use that. It is nothing but R T1 log of V2 by V1. So all these terms get cancelled, and what remains is T1 minus T2 upon T1. That's it. Or if we simplify it further, it is 1 minus T2 upon T1. T1 is the source temperature, T2 is the sink temperature. So clearly T2 is smaller than T1. Yes, this means that this ratio T2 by T1 is smaller than 1. So clearly 1 minus T2 by T1 is going to be smaller than 1. Thus the efficiency of this engine is always going to be slightly smaller than 1. Yes. Another thing to note is that the efficiency depends upon only two terms, namely the source temperature and the sink temperature, say T1 and T2. Doesn't matter which working substance is used, because gamma, which is Cp by Cv, which is the property of the working substance, does not appear in this formula for efficiency. So no matter what is the working substance, the efficiency is the same as long as the source temperatures and sink temperatures are the same. So this is how we have derived an expression for efficiency eta of a Carnot engine.